Hello and welcome to Talking Books. I'm Jill de Villiers. An old Scottish expression maintains that the father buys, the son builds, the grandchild sells, and his son begs. This matter of safeguarding family wealth beyond the third generation lies at the core of the book under discussion today. It is called Passing the Torch, Preserving Family Wealth Beyond the Third Generation. With me is author Ilze Alberts, who is a wealth psychologist, family expert, mentor, and international speaker. Welcome, Ilze. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you, Jill.
So this is a Scottish saying, but it isn't only prevalent in Scotland. It is prevalent across the world, across all cultures. Why does this happen?
Well, it is for sure not only a Western problem. It is something that happens all over the world. And the reason why it happens is the first generation usually has this big need, big void of making money. For instance, one of my clients that I've been working with was 14 years old when he came from Cyprus to South Africa. By invitation of an uncle, he arrived in South Africa, couldn't even speak English, and by the time of his death he was a very affluent businessman with big businesses. So he had really that big need to make money for himself first, and then when he got married and had children, to do it for his family. So the first generation has this big void in their lives of no wealth, and get a business idea, work extremely hard, and create wealth and build wealth. And the second generation grows up initially with not a perception of wealth. I had a conversation with Buffett, for instance, asked her how did it feel to grow up in a wealthy family, and she said it wasn't wealthy. When I grew up, we were just a normal, ordinary family. But as the second generation gets more advanced in age, usually when they're young adults or even adults or maybe even late teenagers, there's wealth in the family and they grow up more with the perception of how it is to have wealth. They then grow up with a perception mostly that when I inherit this wealth, I will have to look after it. Not really the mindset of how am I going to even grow it more. And then the third generation grows up with affluence, there's enough, no drive, no void, nothing missing financially, and just an abundance. And very often that is where it gets lost by the end of the third generation, because there's no perception of what can I do to keep on growing this money? What can I do to keep on having an impact on the world through what my first generation started? That is why it's dissipated by the third generation.
Now, Warren Buffett, you mentioned him. He is very well known for being very conservative and driving the same car for years and years and living in the same house. So he's taking those values through to his children and grandchildren, no doubt. But there must be other millionaire, billionaire families where this doesn't happen.
Yes, for sure. He's a prime example, and I'm really inspired by how he's doing it, because he understands at the core of keeping a family in that powerful position of generating wealth for generations. And the reason for that is not because you want to have a family that is just wealthy and to have a fantastic life, but because of the impact that it can have on society. And he understands at the core of that is keep your children hungry. Don't let them have so much that they sit and watch TV the whole day. And like one of my trust fund babies I'm working with, get up at 2 o'clock in the afternoons because he watches Netflix the whole night long. And his children come home from school at 2 o'clock, and that is when Daddy gets up.
Oh, goodness. Yes. Now, how do you rectify a situation like this? He's obviously consulting you.
Yes, they are consulting me. What I do is I really help the individuals of families and for the family as a whole, because a family is a unit that exists of individuals, and each individual family member has a unique role to play, each one according to what is their unique talents, their unique interest, what their passions are. And if everyone gets to get the opportunity to live that out, to connect with it first of all, and live that out, that is how you make a contribution to build this powerful family. But if you don't have any insight in it, and you think that all I have is this abundance in my life, but what do I do with it? What impact can I have? What meaning, what purpose can I have? Without that, it's all empty.
You mention an example in the book of this very wealthy family where the person who inherited the money started just giving the money away, doing philanthropic acts,
Yes.
but just giving it away to religious organizations, while her father was an atheist. You say
Yes,
he would have turned in his grave if he'd
Yes.
known what she was doing with his money. Tell me that's a little bit more about that story.
So when a person has an excess of guilt about the wealth that they have inherited, and they feel not worthy of it because they didn't work for it, there's two main feelings that go with that, and that is a feeling of shame that I've just landed with with the golden spoon in my mouth, and I didn't work towards owning it. So there's this shame and the guilt. And when a person has an excess of shame and guilt about the money they inherit, they can become very philanthropic and want to give away and feel that they make a difference like that. But when you just give away without also giving an accountability to where it's been given away, that is when the person who's doing that is not applying that principle of don't just give the fish to the person, teach them how to fish.
So wealth can become dissipated in this way, and then the next generation has
100%.
nothing left.
Yes.
You also mention in the book the family business, that only about 30% of family businesses go into the next generation, and I think only 10% go further.
That's right. I think that if we look at stats today, it will even be less. But the reason why that is happening is that a family, usually the first generation, the patriarch or the matriarch who started the business, or both of them who started together, has an expectation that the children will take over, or one of the kids will take over. And they don't put plans in place if it doesn't happen. And it is very seldom that there's really a second or a third generation that is rising up and saying, it's my passion, it's my burning desire, I want to step into this business and I want to make it more and bigger and more impactful. Very often they step in almost from a sense of responsibility, and it's of expectation. So and that is why I call my book Passing the Torch, so important for the business owner, whether you're the first generation, the second generation, to really have a plan in place. How will you pass the torch? Whether it is to next CEO of the business, or do you think that it is wise to train one of your children, but only if they show a keen interest?
So if your children don't show an interest, you need to let them live their lives on their own terms.
I think that is the birthright of every human being. And the wonder of the family wealth is that it can make it so possible for each one to uncover that and build that and live that.
So how do the individuals then maintain and continue building wealth through generations?
Well, it's not everyone's important. Everyone does not value doing that. So you will for sure have the family members that have very low value on building wealth. In every family you will have an absolute combination of the ones who have a value and a priority and considered as important to build wealth, and those who have the importance of just spending the wealth. And that is the balance in a family. But as long as there's someone in the family who follows their heart and who has that high importance on continuing to build the wealth. Otherwise, it's wise for the family to say at the end of a generation, nobody is standing up, nobody has been the champion in this family to continue to build the wealth. Maybe we must just now unbundle it all and let our children just inherit and not take further what we started.
Oh. You talk a lot about how important it is for families to come together and to build the family and to build trust within the family. How do you do this?
Joel, that is my absolute passion in life, and that is to help people to have beautiful lives and build powerful families, because that is really how we can make such a difference in this world. And a powerful family is a family who understands that each family member has unlimited potential, and it can be unlocked, but it has to be directed. It doesn't just happen automatically. And a powerful family is a family who says every family member to get the access and the opportunity to find out what their spiritual mission and vision is, how to use the power of their minds and mentally empower themselves and understand how to look at life and how to handle challenges and solve problems, and how to serve through a business or being employed or even being the full-time mom. That's a service. And also, I believe that a powerful family also empowers every family member with financial insights and wisdom and understanding, and also to understand how to have real great caring relationships with your family members, your in-laws, the stepchildren, whoever is part of the family. And also for every family member to understand that how to have a strong social network, and what is your social impact, and how do you take social leadership. And the last one, of course, for every family member to have access to a healthy body, healthy lifestyle, and the mindset that my body is my vehicle to take my service to the world. Oh. So those are the 7 dimensions in life that I believe a powerful family will focus on empowering each family member in all those areas.
Oh. Now the book is published internationally.
Yes.
That's quite nice. How has it been doing?
Do you know what? It landed on the desk of a Bloomberg and a Wiley publisher. They offered me a contract. I was really, really, very, very honored by that. And they published my book. Mm-hmm. And it's also, at this moment, getting translated into Chinese. And
is this the first translation?
It's the first translation, yes.
Oh. And it's in universities, you said?
It's in universities. When I did a search, I was just so blown away how many international universities got it in their libraries.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yes.
Ilze, thank you so much for coming in and chatting to us.
Thank you, Jill.
So today's book is Passing the Torch, Preserving Family Wealth Beyond the Third Generation. And the author is wealth psychologist Ilze Alberts. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.